Welcome back everybody, and for today's print tip we're going to be talking all about when you get a really ugly melted top of your print. This issue happens when your print comes to a point or comes to a small section, or you just have layers that complete really quickly, and what happens is you get kind of a melted looking print because the hot nozzle keeps running over the same section over and over. There are a few ways you can fix this. Some of them are not super ideal, but one way to do this is that you could turn on your active cooling fan if your material allows for it. Even if the material in question shouldn't have a cooling fan, you can actually turn it on for when layers are shorter than a certain amount of time. So this means even for like ABS or ASA, we may suggest turning on your cooling fan to around 20% when your layer takes less than 2 or 3 seconds to complete. And then of course you will want your active cooling fan blasting when you're printing something like PLA, so something like this shouldn't really be an issue with PLA. Now slicers also have a minimum layer time, which will mean that no layer will take less than this amount of time to complete, but unfortunately Bambu Studio doesn't pause the nozzle above the print when this happens. On Cura, if you set this up, you can make it so that your nozzle will pause above the print and then wait for the amount of time to lapse, and then go back and print the next layer. While this does add to stringing, this is beneficial because it will give your layer enough time to cool before printing the next layer, so you won't get a melted top like this, just some string to clean up after. Unfortunately though, as mentioned, Bambu Studio will just make it so that that layer prints slower, so it won't really help with this particular issue. One really easy way to fix this is just to print 2 of the item that you're printing so that it will go from one print to the other, back to the other, and then give each layer enough time to cool. Obviously, that may not be ideal if you only want to print one of these objects, especially if you're printing something with a large base that comes to a small point, but it is an option. You can actually also manually add a pause to your print at certain layer heights through the slicer, though this might be a little bit annoying if you have to pause after every single layer, such as on this head. So another option is you could add a prime tower or manual support structures so that your print will go from that tiny head over to the prime tower or support structures and then back to your print, giving it enough time to cool. But the best method is something like Cura has, where it will pause the nozzle above the print and then print the next layer. But if you're using something like Bambu Studio, we would definitely suggest turning on your active cooling fan for when layers take less than 2 or 3 seconds. Personally, I just prefer to print multiple objects when it is something small like this, but if it's a big object coming to a small point, I will turn on that active cooling fan and then perhaps even add some manual supports or a prime tower to help. Otherwise, you're going to get a print that looks like this. Well, I hope that helps everybody out there. If you have ugly tops to your print, make sure you come back next Monday for even more print tips.